free college football picks. This is week 4, part 3. I'm Tony T here with our college football pick show here for Wednesday. We have 11 games from Saturday. We do them in parts. We get about 11 a day here until we get all 60 plus games done. Before we get into just a couple things, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have free MLB picks updated all season long, and free college football picks, free NFL picks all season long. Be sure to subscribe, make it a great time to subscribe. And also, if you would support our channel with that like, that thumbs up, we greatly appreciate it. And of course, subscribe to our channel because we'll have lots of live shows here covering all the major sports, live shows with lots of cappers. Wanted to make an announcement of a new live show with Mindy and Tiffany. Ramon now will fly solo on Morning Steam. Mindy's ready to have her own show, so she's going to be hosting it here in the afternoons. Appreciate that. Looking forward to Mindy here with her live show with Mindy and other guests as well. She plans on it, so she's producing the show, full creative control. Hey, this is how this industry works, man. People move up. Back at my, I was co-hosting. I have a co-host like me and Ruffalo. Ruffalo hosts a show. Jay hosts it. That's how it works. People move up, and that's how we're looking forward. And congratulations to Mindy. All right, and don't forget to visit our site, tonyswix.com. We're a multi-capper site showcasing top cappers in our industry. Click the links to the hot cappers, get signed up to long-term passes. Hot cappers like Ramon Scott, Joseph Schultz, Ralph Raymond. Last 30 days, Collins has been on fire, so has Ralph, Nick Martini. Last 7 days, Sean's been on fire, Daniel Walsichuk. Nick coming in with a strong day yesterday, so Ralph Raymond. Click the links, get signed up to our long-term passes. You'll find our latest premium picks here, center of the page. Here, and the tabs for our best bets, our $15 promotional, and our multi-packs offering great value. Of course, you may also purchase the plays a la carte from our pick ticker. There you're going to find team versus team information. And you can save 20% off all premium pick packages when you use the promo code TonyT at checkout. You can access our page by clicking the link in the description. Click the All Cappers tab, get signed up. Always love to hear from you guys. You may post your picks in the comments. And we are looking for cappers, so apply on that home page. All right, let's go ahead and let's get this one started. Ole Miss and Alabama, college football pick for action on Saturday. Mississippi 3-0 after their 48-23 home victory to Georgia Tech. Rebels rushed for over 8 yards a carry. They limit the Yellow Jacks to 3.5 yards per carry with 307 yards passing on 42 attempts. Jackson Dart 10 of 18 for 251 yards and a touchdown. He also averaged 14 yards per pass attempt. Dart also rushed for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. Alabama 2-1 after their 17-3 road win at USF. Crimson Tide rushed for nearly 5 yards a carry with massive struggles in the passing game. They allowed 3.5 yards per rush to the Bulls with 87 yards passing on 28 attempts. So the defense still hanging in there. Jalen Monroe was benched last week. He may return under center after ineffectiveness by backups Tyler Buckner and Ty Simpson. Crimson Tide is not experienced with 5 starters returning on both sides. Dart's running ability is strength at quarterback, as this has been a really difficult for a Saban defense to defend against. Rebels are 8th in the nation with 8.2 yards per play. Quarterback situation for the Crimson Tide are concerned. Ole Miss 6-0 to the spread when they scored 28 or greater points. Player Ole Miss +7. UCLA and Utah college football pick. Here we go. Action on Saturday. UCLA 3-0 after their 59-7 home victory to FCS North Carolina Central. Bruins have wins to mid-major schools. Coastal Carolina by 14. San Diego State on the road by 25. Freshman quarterback Dante Moore in his FBS games, completing 61% of his passes for 11 yards per attempt. Utah 3-0 after that 31-7 home victory to FCS Weber State. The Utes have 2 wins against Power 5 schools here. They beat Florida by 13 at home. They go on the road and beat Baylor by 7. Quarterback Cameron Rising has missed the first 3 games of the year while recovering from knee surgery. Nate Johnson in his FBS games completing 82% of his passes with 8 yards per pass attempt. Utes defense has been outstanding as they sit 18th in the nation by allowing 271 yards a game. Utah's played a tougher schedule, and this is the Bruins' first Power 5 opponent. Playing in Utah has been a house of horror for the Bruins, getting outscored the past 3 visits by 141-44. Play here Utah -4.5. Georgia Tech and Wake Forest college football pick Saturday. Georgia Tech 1-2 after that 48-23 road defeat at Ole Miss. Yellow Jackets rushed for over 3 yards a carry. Defensively, they allowed Ole Miss 550 yards with 299 yards rushing on 37 attempts. Georgia Tech surrendered 251 passing yards on 19 attempts. Haynes King 28-41 for 307 yards with 2 touchdowns. He averaged 7.5 yards per attempt. Wake Forest 3-0, a 27-24 road win at Old Dominion. Neiman Deacons ran for just over 2 yards a carry, which with production in the passing game. They held the Monarchs to under 2 yards per rush with 233 yards passing on 27 attempts. Mitch Griffiths, 24 of 41 passing for 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. He averaged 7.6 yards per attempt. Two strong offensive teams here. Georgia Tech is 117th in the nation in total defense, allowing 6.4 yards per rush. The play here, Georgia Tech and Wake Forest over 60. UTSA and Tennessee college football pick. Here we go. Action on Saturday. UTSA 1-2 with their 37-29 home defeat to Army. Roadrunners ran for nearly 6 yards per attempt. They surrendered nearly 4 yards. They carried Army with 188 yards passing on 18 attempts. Frank Harris missed the game with an injured toe in his day-to-day. Eddie Lee Marburger completed 17 of 25 for 239 yards with 3 touchdowns and averaged 9.6 yards per attempt. Tennessee fell to 2-1 with their 29-16 road defeat in Florida. Volunteers rushed for 3.3 yards a carry. They allowed about 4.5 yards per rush to the Gators with 166 passing yards on 24 attempts. Joe Milton, 20 of 34 for 287 yards with 8.4 yards per attempt. He had 2 touchdowns and a pick. UTSA had trouble getting off the field against Army. Harris was ineffective when healthy in the opening loss at Houston. There could be a backup on the field for UTSA at quarterback. They put just 14 points up on Houston. Play here Tennessee minus 20.5. Duke and UConn college football pick. Here we go for action on Saturday. Duke 3-0 after a 38-34 home victory to Northwestern. Blue Devils, they rushed for over 6 yards a carry. That's been their strength, running that football. You saw that against Clemson. They held the Wildcats to 3.5 yards per rush, 163 passing yards on 40 attempts. Riley Leonard, 15 of 20 for 219 yards, 11 yards per attempt. When you can run, you can put up these type of numbers. He ran for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns. Connecticut 0-3. A 24-17 home defeat to FIU. It's been a lot of close losses for them. Huskies rushed for nearly 4.5 yards a carry. They held FIU to under 3 yards per rush, but 284 passing yards on 27 attempts. Daquan Roberson, that Penn State transfer, he went 15 of 32, 170 yards and a touchdown. He averaged 5.3 yards per pass attempt. Dating back to last year, Connecticut scored 17 or fewer points. Duke experienced with 10 starters back on offense. The team is 7th in yards per rush in the nation at 6.3. And averaging 7.2 yards per play, ranking 19th in the nation. UConn, 117th in the nation in run defense. UConn's offense, 117th in the nation, averaging just 4.8 yards per play, which is also 117th in the nation. Player will be Duke, minus 21. Central Michigan and South Alabama college football pick. Here we go, action on Saturday. Central Michigan 1-2 after their 41-17 road defeat at Notre Dame. Chippewas rushed for nearly 4 yards a carry. Defensively, they surrendered over 4 yards per rush to the Fighting Irish with 342 passing yards on 28 attempts. Starting quarterback Bert Emanuel missed the game. The illness, Emanuel is completing only 50% of his passes with 7.8 yards per attempt with 3 touchdowns and 3 picks. South Alabama 2-1 after their 33-7 road win at Oklahoma State. Jaguars rushed for 5 yards a carry. Defensively, they held the Cowboys to 208 yards with 114 passing on 35 attempts. Carter Bradley went 10 of 16 for 152 yards with 2 touchdowns. He averaged 9.5 yards per attempt. Central Michigan inexperienced on offense with 4 starters back. This is an experienced Jaguars team with 9 starters back on both sides. Quarterback accuracy and issue as they sit 131st in the nation in completion percentage. Chippewas run at a high volume but average only 3.9 yards per attempt. Jaguars rush for 5 yards a carry and a really good 8.3 yards per pass attempt. Player will be South Alabama here at minus 15. Eastern Michigan and Jacksonville State's college football pick. Here we go for action on Saturday. Eastern Michigan improved to 2-1. A 19-17 home victory to UMass. Eagles rushed for over 9 yards a carry. On defense, they allowed 4 yards per rush to the Minutemen with 340 passing on 41 attempts. EMU had a +3 turnover margin. Austin Smith, 13 of 26 for 157 yards and a touchdown. He averaged 6 yards per attempt and rushed for 45 yards. Jacksonville State 2-1 after the 30-16 road defeat at Coastal Carolina. Gamecocks rushed for nearly 4 yards a carry in the loss. Defensively, they allowed nearly 3 yards per rush to the Chanticleers with 268 yards passing on 29 attempts. Zion Webb, 9 of 18, 150 yards, 8.3 yards per pass attempt. The Eagles are really struggling offensively, averaging 270 yards a game, which is 130th in the nation. Gamecock defense playing well and defending the run. Eastern Michigan was inexperienced on offense, only 4 starters back. Eagles are averaging are allowing 4.7 yards per rush, and the Gamecocks' strength is running the football under Rich Rod as head coach. Play here Jacksonville State -6. Liberty and FIU college football pick Saturday. Liberty 3-0 after a 55-27 road win at Buffalo. Flames rushed for over 6 yards per carry. They held the Bulls to under 3 yards per rush with 276 yards passing on 51 attempts. Flames had a +2 turnover margin. Caden Salter, 16 of 26 for 344 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 13 yards per pass attempt. He rushed for 66 yards and a touchdown. FIU 3-1 after their 24-17 road win at Connecticut. Golden Panthers rushed for under 3 yards a carry. They allowed over 4 yards per rush here to the Huskies with 170 passing yards on 32 attempts. Freshman quarterback Keon Jenkins, 15 of 27 for 284 yards with 2 touchdowns and 10.5 yards per pass attempt. Flames 18th in the nation in total offense. They are rushing for 5.3 yards a carry, while FIU allows 4.4 yards per rush, sitting 114th in the nation in total defense. Golden Panthers completion rate 53%, which is 117th in the nation. But here Liberty -10.5. Oklahoma State and Iowa State college football pick here for Saturday. Oklahoma State 2-1 after that 33-7 home defeat to South Alabama. Cowboys rushed for just over 3 yards a carry and were miserable in the passing game. They surrendered 5 yards per rush to the Jaguars with 152 yards passing on 16 attempts. Alan Bowman went 6 of 12 for 42 yards and an interception with 3.5 yards per attempt. Garrett Rangel and Gunnar Gundy did see action in this 3-quarterback carousel. The Cowboys totaled 114 passing yards on 35 attempts. Oklahoma State had a -2 turnover margin. Iowa State 1-2 with their 10-7 road defeat at Ohio. Cyclones rushed for less than 2 yards a carry against a MAC team. Defensively, they allowed 3 yards per rush to the Bobcats with 135 yards passing on 32 attempts. Iowa State had a -2 turnover margin. Rocco Becht, 17 of 24 for 233 yards with a touchdown and 2 interceptions. He averaged 9.7 yards per attempt. Cowboys did manage to go on the road and beat Arizona State by 12. Against FBS opponents, Cyclones scored 13 in Iowa, 7 in Ohio. Play here will be on Oklahoma State at +3.5. Rice and USF college football pick Saturday. Rice 2-1 after that 59-7 home victory to FCS Texas Southern. Owls had a 27-point loss at Texas and beat Houston by home here 43-41. Quarterback JT Daniels, facing FBS teams, completed 62% of his throws for 8.1 yards per attempt. He tossed for 4 touchdowns and 3 picks in those 2 games against FBS competition. South Florida 1-2 after their 17-3 home defeat to Alabama. Bulls were tied to 3 at the half. They rushed for 3.5 yards a carry with really poor passing performance. USF surrendered nearly 5 yards a carry to the Crimson Tide with 107 passing yards on 23 attempts. Byron Brown, 14 of 28 for 87 yards and a pick. He averaged 3.1 yards per attempt at Alabama, 4.9 at Western Kentucky. USF's inexperienced on offense with 4 starters back. The Bulls are a high-volume rushing team with an average of 50 rushes per game or 226 yards a game. The Owls allow nearly 4 yards per rush to their opponents. Houston rushed for 4.5 yards a carry on the Owls. I just respect the defensive performance here against Alabama. Play here will be USF +2.5. Sam Houston State and Houston in college football pick. Here we go for Saturday. Sam Houston State here 0-2 after their 13-3 home defeat to Air Force. Bearcats gained just over 1 yard per rush, 44 passing yards on 14 attempts. They allowed 244 yards rushing to the Falcons on 59 carries with 14 passing yards. Keegan Shoemaker 8 of 14 for that 44 yards, 3.1 yards per attempt. Houston fell to 1-2, a 36-13 home defeat to TCU. Cougars rushed for under 2 yards a carry. They surrendered 564 yards to the Horned Frogs with 5 yards per rush, along with 314 yards passing on 37 attempts. Donovan Smith, 17 of 35 for 225 yards with 2 interceptions and 6.4 yards per attempt. Sam Houston State is in their first season in FBS. They are 133rd in the nation in total offense by averaging only 133 yards a game. Bearcats 13th in total defense, holding it forwards to 258 yards a game. Player will be Sam Houston State and Houston under 38. All right, that was our college football pick show here. This is week 4, part 3. We're going to do all of them in parts here. We'll get to the 60-plus games for you by the end of the week. Guys, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have free college football picks updated all season long. Free picks every day from all the major sports like NFL, like Major League Baseball. Lots of live shows over our channel with lots of cappers giving out picks. Mindy will be debuting a live show on our channel later today, so make sure you guys tune into that. And of course, her and Tiffany will be her guest, and there'll be more guests on the Mindy show here in afternoons here on our channel. She's moving up, right? Yeah, that's how it works here. She was a co-host for a year on the morning Steve, but she's now ready to have the host and run her own show. So congratulations to Mindy. Keep an eye on that show coming up shortly. All right. Be sure to visit our site, Tony'sPicks.com, for our best plays. Our premium picks are there. Use the promo code TonyT at checkout. You'll save 20% off. You'll find the link to our site in the description. I'm Tony T. Back later on with more free picks.